Hello guys, this is the second part of the basics of guitar, and like I said, I'm going to be going on to the very basic chords and the movements and shapes that you make. Okay. Now, one of the biggest things I can advise is don't neglect your little finger. It's the hardest one to use, but it is such a big asset to a guitar player. Okay, that was a mistake I made when I was learning. I never used my little finger. Okay, so the way we're going to do this is obviously you've got the thumb at the back of the neck. And then we're going to be using the index finger, which is finger number 1, middle finger number 2, third finger number 3, and your little finger number 4. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right. And if you remember the names of the strings, E, B, G, D, A, and E. Right. Now the first chord I'm going to show you is D. Now it's fairly simple because you're only using these 3 fingers. I'm giving it very simple for. As it's your first chord, it's going to feel quite weird. Now a tip, it will hurt at first to keep pressing on. Your fingers will toughen up at the end and develop what's called calluses. Very important. It does hurt, but push through that and you'll be there in no time. Right, so if you remember the names of the strings, the third string from the bottom, which was the D, and you put in our first finger onto the 2nd fret, so 2nd fret onto the D string. Okay? That's the sound you should be getting. What you mustn't do is mute the other strings, so for example the string below the D shouldn't sound like this. Make sure you've been precise, you're only pushing your finger onto the string that it's supposed to be on, just the D, so the string below should sound free and clear. Okay? Second, you're putting your middle finger, which is your 2nd finger, onto the, it's also on the 2nd fret, however it's missing a string onto the very bottom string, which is the E. Okay? So there's 2 strings. Okay, and then you've got your 3rd finger, and that's going on to the 3rd fret. Okay, so the next fret up, and that's going to go on in the middle of those 2 onto the B string. Alright, now that is the D chord. Okay, so strum it and it should sound open and clear, okay, like this. If you get any sounds like this, and you're either not pushing on the strings hard enough, you've got to push quite hard, okay, or you're hitting other strings with your fingers, you've got to be very precise. Get a very open and clear sound. Okay, so practice that. The next part is practicing going from not being on the strings into the chord to go onto them. Okay? Now obviously at first you're going to have to look. But as you get a bit more used to the feel of it and the way your hands move, try not looking. Okay? Now we're going on to the 2nd chord, which is a form of C. Now you'll understand why I'm showing you these chords in a bit, which will come later into the video. We'll go on to lots of other chords. We'll put links to pages and pages of chords, so you can learn all, but I'm just going to show you the basics, because I've got the flow of the video. Okay, right, so the second one, like I said, is the C. Now this one is going to be using the little finger. Okay, it's simple, but it's just bringing that little finger in so you get used to using it. Right, so we're going to be putting the first finger onto the D string, which is 3rd from the top. So you got E, A, D, and it's going to be on the 2nd fret of the D. Then your 2nd finger, your middle finger, is going to be on the 3rd fret, so this fret here. That's going to be on the A, the string above the D. And these 2 fingers, your 3rd finger at first is going to be on the B, the 2nd from the bottom. That's also going to be on the 3rd fret. And you're going to have the little finger that is also on the 3rd fret, but that's going to be on the very bottom string, the E. And that is a C chord. And you'll probably find it sounds a bit like this. That's because again you're not pressing on hard enough, or you're putting your fingers too much like that and you're muting the other strings. So you've got to be very, very thorough, very precise, and make sure you're only pushing the strings that you need to be pressing, okay? Okay, practice that again. Practice something off it. Then the next chord is very simple. It's a G, and all you're going to be doing is moving these two fingers. They're keeping on the same fret, but they're moving up a string each. So from your first finger, which is on the D on the second, you're going to be moving up to the A on the second fret, that is. And your middle finger, your second finger, is going to be moving from the third fret on the A up to the third fret onto the E. And that is all you do. You keep these two fingers exactly where they are. Don't move them. So it's very simple to go from C to a G. Okay? Now, those are the three chords. Practice going from one chord to the next. Okay, so you've got the D, if you remember, index finger, which is your first, on the second fret on the D, your middle finger, which is your second, on the very bottom string, which is the E, and that's also on the second fret. Then your third finger is on the B string, the second from the bottom here, and that's on the third fret, like I say. I'm going to go on to the C again, if you remember. So this finger doesn't actually move, your third finger. So the index finger goes on to the D string on the second fret, your second finger goes on to the A string on the third fret, and your little finger you push onto the very bottom string, which is the E, on the third fret. D is just with the top first two fingers up a string. Okay? Right. So those are the three chords we're going to be using. Now practice those. Practice them over. However you like. So go from G to D to C. From G to C to D. Practice going up and down them. Use those chords a lot. Okay? Now the reason for that is you get your hands and your mind used to changing. Because two hands are doing different things and that's not always easy to do. Okay? So that's it. Just practice going around those chords. Know your way around them. And what I did there was I put this little finger on and off. So yeah. The little finger on, take it off. Okay, that's all that was. Right, so that's what you need to focus on a lot. C, D and G. Practice those three, and then in the third part you'll see why I showed you those. Okay? And the third part's moving the bit up. So make sure you practice these a lot before you go on to the third part, because otherwise it'll be too much to take in. Okay, so just click on the link here and I'll take you straight to the third section. Okay Jordan, this is